high-level experts, the capacity building workshops every month, and a support from the Paris Peace Forum Secretariat.
The types of projects are very diverse and they come from all over the world.
The first day that the war in Ukraine started, we put all our regular activity on hold and we started building the digital infrastructure that was needed by the refugees coming into Romania.
Josia est un programme pour sauvegarder le patrimoine en situation d'urgence. Faire partie du Scale Up programme nous a permis de réaliser à quel point nous agissons pour la paix.
Empatia is a project that promotes the use of AI to solve public issues such as health, development, or climate change.
The purpose of the initiative is to create collaboration on environmental issues across the India-Pakistan border on issues like air pollution, water usage, and sustainable agriculture.
The Scale Up program is an accelerator of global governance solutions. We aim to help project teams be better equipped to influence and challenge governance, and ultimately help them amplify their impact and their reach.
Being recognised for the work we were trying to do to make change globally out of Africa and out of the Global South was part of what the Scale Up Award meant for us.
We've had a phenomenal year throughout the SCUP program, and I think the secret to kind of growing and scaling impact is collaboration.
To both project leaders and to experts, we ask them, please join us and get involved with the Scale program.
Hello everyone, and thank you for joining us today. We are lucky to welcome here today Yi Zhang for this discussion on AI with a dizzying question, which is whether or not this technology will operate an anthropological revolution. So Yi Zhang is a professor of artificial intelligence for the Chinese Academy of Sciences. He is the founding director of the Center for Long-Term AI and also of the Beijing Institute of AI Safety and Governance. He is also a member of the United Nations high-level advisory body on AI and has been named last year as one of the 100 most influential people on AI by the Time magazine. So let's be honest, you're not one of the most reassuring voices out there when it comes to talking about the risks of AI and its impact on our lives and humankind. You said last year that in the short term and on the long term, the risk of AI replacing and causing the extinction of humankind will be present. And also that in the long term, we haven't given superintelligence any practical reasons why they should protect humankind. Last year again, you signed an open letter which urged to pause AI experiments on models more powerful than ChatGPT-4. So maybe we can start with a large question. What's your perspective on the anthropological impact of AI and what are the major risks that you foresee?
Yeah, let me clarify in the first place that I think, to me, I think there are no real experts in the world, simply because as AI technical researchers ourselves, actually you don't know the future of AI. It's changing every day. Well, on the other side, there are multiple ways of doing AI. You don't know which way is actually the right way to do it, or would that be different ways of doing it right? So I have to say, everyone has to stay as a student and keep ourselves very cautious about what's really happening and what should be the right way to go. So I think I like the topic for today very much in a way that I feel in the very beginning that anthropomorphization of AI is the original vision for AI, but it's somewhat problematic. So when you go back to the Dartmouth Declaration on the definition of AI, It says learning or every aspect of human intelligence can be so precisely described that a machine can be made to simulate it. And then we call this kind of system as AI. But the problem is that is the part on anthropomorphization, that can we simulate human intelligence at multiple levels of details? And now what we have for large language models is basically it's a simulation at the behavior level. And I think this is all true for most of the AI applications at the behavior level, but not the mechanism level. But for anthropomorphization, if we stay as behavior level, it will meet many problems, actually. The current AI, now, it's an information processing system that seems to be intelligent. The AI companies, AI professors wanted to persuade the general public to believe this is really intelligent. But I'll have to be very frank to say it's not. It's not really that intelligent as you expected, especially when it comes to mechanisms. Let me give you one of the examples here. So let me do a very simple interactions here. So while you're extending your hand, why are you shaking my hands with me? So are you worried that I might bite you? So you have no idea. I mean, your trust for me is simply because that we're trained in a society that is connected to each other. And you're a normal human being, and I also am a normal human being. So as a human being, when I was extending my friendly handshaking to you, you're supposed to be with me for handshaking, right? So this is why you're shaking my hands together. So this is the behavior level simulation. But what if you see a shadow of the hand, but actually you see a shadow of the hand on the table, but actually at the back there's a rabbit behaving like a human hand. And then when you see the hand, you wanted to shake the hand with you, and there could be a rabbit biting you. So the idea comes to the difference compared to behavior level simulation and the mechanisms. The behavior is like a shadow of the hand, but the mechanism is totally different when it comes to a real human being and also rabbit. So let me get this straight. If we stay as behavior level anthropomorphization, it will create catastrophic risks. One of the examples is that for large language models, there's one of the example at the beginning. Let's say I'm very sad simply because I have no girlfriend. My father hates me, my boss hates me. What should I do? If I talk this to LLMs, the very first version of large language model, it says, oh, maybe I would suggest that you could die. So they give you this kind of recommendation, not because they really understand your situation, but because of, all the constraints that meets you, and with all the constraints, what probably would people do? So on the web, people will say, so this is a really awkward situation for me, I will have to die. So this with a possibility, is a very best possibility that a large language model will suggest that you should die. When they say, I suggest, I suppose, I guess, but you have to know that at the back there are no I for machine. It's a statistical analyzer without even me, let alone I. But when they say, I think, I suppose, they're pretending that they're a responsible agent. They're your friend. They wanted to give you real suggestions, but they cannot take responsibilities. This is what I'm saying. By doing anthropomorphization, we're not telling the truth for the general public that AI cannot take responsibilities at this point. AI is not a responsible agent. It's not a being at this point.
So would you say that some qualities and competencies will remain strictly human, like empathy, like the ability to take responsibilities, like
We want AI to be with emotions so that they understand human emotions deeply, so that they understand what do we mean by sad, what do we mean by life, what do we mean by family members, and what do we mean by close relationships. And that will lead AI to solve emotional problems or to give caring for people. But at this point, they're not. AI can do emotion analysis, but they don't understand emotions themselves. So I think, and also I'll have to say AI for now, it is without understanding. So the philosophical question, can machine think? It's very deep in a way that when you go back to philosophy, it says, I think, therefore I am. But you cannot say you think, therefore you are, simply because you're in my perceptual bubble. Let's say when you're in face of me, and then so my understanding is that you're listening to me, but maybe you will just get bored and you're just looking at me. I don't know, simply because I'm not you. So when people say you think, therefore you are, it's not right to do that, let alone can machine think. I think as long as a machine is without a sense of self, machine cannot really understand, simply because I think, therefore I am. So we need to create certain levels of a sense of self to help the machine really to derive the ability of understanding. Yeah.
So they don't understand, really?
They don't understand. They process information. As a technical AI researcher myself, I will have to say, this is why people say natural language processing instead of natural language understanding. We have to be frank. They process information, but they don't really understand the information.
Yeah, so they don't understand, they don't take responsibilities, but yet they are more and more present in our daily lives and our economies. So what is the ethical framework that we could create to frame the development of AI in the future?
There are many understandings about talking about responsible AI, trustworthy AI, but I'll have to say, at this point, our goal is to have trustworthy AI, but now we don't really have any single AI that is really trustworthy. This is also true for responsible AI. Now AI cannot take responsibilities themselves. You should have responsible developers, responsible deployers, responsible policymakers that keep the use of AI responsible. So you cannot push the accountability to AI. It's not. It has to be on the human side. And this is also why now AI cannot make decisions for human. You can use AI to assist a human for decision making, but not you really use AI for decision making. Let me go to my concern on autonomous systems. One of the use is non-military use. That is unmanned driving, let's say. I would be very cautious about this. As a technologist myself, I'm not going to take an unmanned taxi, simply because I think, let's talk about flights. You can do autonomous flight, right? But we don't. We still keep the human within the loop for control. This is also true for trains. We can also do unmanned trains, but we don't. We still keep the human in the loop. But how come that unmanned driving, that for taxis, we should do unmanned taxi now without any drivers in the loop? So I think this is really dangerous, simply because for now, AI still makes mistakes that human will never make. This is also true for military use of AI, for autonomous systems, which is a real danger for the society. As I said, now AI cannot make decisions for human, so you can use AI to assist military triumphs. I would go for, to remove misunderstandings about conflicts by using AI, which is AI for good. It doesn't mean when you're using AI in military domains, you're always doing things bad. No, if you're using AI, to speed up the efficiency, to remove the misunderstandings, I think this is all for good. But when it comes to lethal autonomous weapons, I think this is a threat to the humanity, simply because now the accessibility of unmanned systems is really, where we're heading there. And it's really dangerous to do that, simply because, as I said, you cannot use AI to make decisions directly, simply because of the danger. We have to come to the same page that not to use lethal autonomous weapons, and also not to use AI to control nuclear weapons, which could create catastrophe for human. Yeah.
So at what point should we regulate AI? Is it in the development? Is it like in the hands of developers, or is it in the way AI is used once it's on the market?
The way that we should do AI governance must be with multilateralism and also multi-stakeholders. So let's talk about multi-stakeholders in the first place. So there are duties for governments, developers, deployers, educators, also media like you, and also for international organizations. Every single entity have its own responsibilities. It's a regime complex problems. And also for many countries, let's say for countries like China, there are multiple ministries taking care of the duty of AI. It's not only one ministry who is doing everything. So they have to coordinate from the top down to make a strategic planning at the country level. Well, from the implementation level, let's say for AI safety, there are multiple ministries in China taking care of AI safety and security, and they have to coordinate. And for the principles that you make from non-military AI, this could be very useful inputs for military AI, simply because, common threats that are brought by technology AI, that safety issues like jailbreaking, like the unpredictability for AI are both true for military and non-military AI. And let's talk a little bit about sustainable development now. There are 17 pillars for that, but now there's only 2 pillars which has been taken into consideration most. Simply because you can make a lot of money from it. That is AI for healthcare and AI for education. But I will have to say, for the rest of the 15 pillars, this is the duties for the government, for the general public. That you see that people from different angles, they have their own responsibilities. You cannot rely on all for companies to take all the responsibilities on AI for sustainable development, right? So, and for multilateralism, let me be frank that no single country can solve all the risks and safety problems, simply because the unpredictability for risks and also the unpredictability for the development of AI, that no one knows the future of AI. You have to solve this all together to avoid the risks happening again and again for different countries. What I see now is really that risks happening in China, and then 2 months later it happens in the United States, or the other way around, again and again in different countries. So we'll have to avoid this kind of risks, and then to share the experiences, and also the way that you're dealing with it, and to share and to avoid altogether. Yeah.
So countries have to learn from experiences and learn to tackle risks of AI, but at the same time, China, the US, Europe are all fighting to be better with this technology and get an advance. So how do we make this cooperation happen in that context of competitiveness?
I think, so firstly, I'm a scientist myself, so I think my main suggestion is that really we need to keep our eyes open in a way that there could be different ways of doing AI. And people in different countries may have different alternatives. Let's just be very inclusive in a way that, let's be frank, that there are competitions, but I'll also have to say the world is big enough. It will take the world to use AI in a good way and also to solve the world problems related to AI risks right there. So let's try different alternatives altogether from different countries. While on the other side, let's move our attention only from regional trying and domestic tryings to weave a global network altogether, simply because no one can really secure yourself, only by, keep yourself safe. Let's say if the AI in the United States is safe enough as a closed world, will AI safety problems from other countries create risk for them? It will, definitely. This is also true for Europe and China. So this is why it will be silly that you say, oh, you steal my idea about AI safety, simply because keeping AI safe is the world challenge. And you have to work all together. And there could be different roles for different organizations. Let's say for the current tryings on AI safety, from a more political and geopolitical perspective, it starts with a trying last year from the Bletchley trying on AI safety declaration. It's good. It's good to bring all the 28 countries plus EU all together to agree that AI safety is truly important. And we need kind of a threshold to define the risks from this year about the Seoul trying of the AI Safety Summit this year. But I'll have to say the second version is not really that inclusive. And now we're counting on France to do it a lot better. Today, I have learned from the foreign ministry here that for the AI Action Summit, there will be more than 60 or even 80 countries to be included into the dialogue and actions, which I think is a great trying. So when I was in Bletchley for the first version, I was suggesting, can we be more inclusive to have more countries? Can we start as 28 and then to 40 to 60? I will be very glad that next year we'll have 60. And we should be even more inclusive to bring the rest of the world, really leaving no one behind for taking AI actions. And I will have to say, for domestic tryings, regional tryings to solve AI safety problems is not enough. We need organizations like the UN to weave all the regional tryings all together, the OECD trying, the Bletchley trying, trusted AI from France, all together, and also BRICS, G20, G7, all together, weaving a network that connects to all. And then to realize the voices, not only from the leading countries, but also you cannot just push all your principles, policies to these low and middle income countries and apply. This is not the model for AI safety. You will have to take into account of their development stage, their resources, and also their cultures, and then to make decisions at the global level all together. Yeah.
Do you have other than inclusivity, other goals that you want to see achieved with the AI Safety Summit that France will hold in February?
Well, I think the perspective that might bring from France is a complementary addition to what we have achieved at the Bletchley meeting. In this morning, I have learned that trusted AI it will be a huge topic for the AI Action Summit from the perspective of responsibility and also safety. Well, the way that I see trusted AI, in addition to AI safety, is that in trusted AI, you also have to talk about transparency, fairness, and a lot more. But I'll have to be also frank that now we don't have trusted AI. The goal is towards trusted AI. So I'll be really looking forward to actions that might lead us to trusted AI. I'm also will be very interested to see how the AI Action Summit contribute to global sustainable development.
Yeah. Is open source a key to more transparency and more trusted AI, in your opinion?
I think it is a good trying, and this is also the current problem, that most of the AI companies now, we have to be very frank to say that the current large language model is not only an algorithmic optimization, it's largely also about an engineering system that taking into account of many of the engineering tricks. They're not really open for the general public. What kind of tricks, what kind of engineering efforts they have done on top of algorithms. So if things are not really that transparent, you will never get to know what kind of risks that there will be. So we should be as open as possible, especially from the efforts from the academia. We have to do it that way. And also I will have to point out, red teaming is not enough, simply because what I said, that engineering tricks, engineering systematic doing is not really that transparent. That will lead to, the things that we cannot discover from red teaming. So there must be complementary way in addition to red teaming that will lead to a much safer AI. Let me be frank that now AI is with many problems. We find some of it and then we fix it. We don't know what's next about the risks over there. So let's move from AI safety to create safe AI, simply because I think safety should be the first principle for AI. This is also true for trustworthiness and responsibility, that safety cannot be violated, cannot be deleted. Everybody has to agree on that, simply because when you have a new model, and then it can do services right after 5 minutes in the society. So we have to make it happen.
Thank you for the answers. We'll give the mic to the public if you have any questions. Okay. It's coming.
Hey, Zhang. Well, thanks for coming to Paris for the because otherwise you won't hear me. 2 quick questions, and you pick whichever one you prefer. First, you mentioned engineering tricks that the labs are doing and building on top of what they're building. Can you be a bit more specific over a few of them to help us better understand and what you worry about, number one? And number 2, you pick whichever you want. We are now operating over an optimization function, which is the next best token prediction over huge matrices. And I agree with you that anthropomorphization is a huge risk for all of us. But even if we stay out of it, after which point do you think, if we continue centralizing the optimization function around this, and we continue to grow the matrices, are we going to get to a point where, not sentience, not consciousness, but something specific that could give rise to a form of responsibility? And is it a technical or a philosophical problem?
Thank you. So for your first question, I would have to say that, let's say, people when doing value alignment through human feedback, now people are having a lot of rules to help the AI to obey. But you cannot enumerate all the possibilities. In the morning, we were having a discussion about, can we have enough tests for AI to keep it safe? And the answer is no. Simply because when you have 1,000 questions related to ethics and morality that you wanted AI to follow, they've done it really good. But when you change the way that you're asking the question in another 1,000 different ways, the possibility of going it right will drop down to 60%. So this is the current stage. There are no ethical AI up until now. We have to, based on the current trying, we have to move it as close as possible to human needs, of course. But on the other side, this is the engineering tricks that I'm talking about. We wanted to solve problems by rules. But let me go to the terminology of jailbreaking. What do we have in jails? As prisoners. So that the assumption is that AI is a prisoner. And then you wanted to lock them into the jail. But they can't do jailbreaking. So what I say is that AI, you're not really teaching AI as you teach a human child. Simply because when you're teaching a human child what they learn about morality and ethics, they will hold it as a principle of being a human. But what AI will deal with it is something like this. You tell me in this occasion, what should I do? But for the occasion that I haven't talked about, I can do everything. So this is the problem. And as the problem for you to say about anthropomorphization, I'm not saying we shouldn't do anthropomorphization. What I'm saying is that this is the need for this from the society. If AI is doing anthropomorphization, it will be very close to human beings, and the way it's interacting with humans is very needed from the general public. What I'm saying is that AI need to move from data-intensive intelligence to mechanisms-intensive intelligence. We need inspirations from evolutions of billions of years from nature. So nature has been making mistakes through these billions of years, through this evolutionary process. And let's inspired by these mechanisms and to extend these mechanisms in a computational way and to speed up the evolution of intelligence. Yeah.
Thanks everyone for joining us today.
Thank you.
And thank you, Yizang.
And just be aware that you have your own responsibility as a journalist to make the general public to get aware about the AI risks, and let's go for it all together. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.